Before you sign the paperwork on an electric vehicle in 2027, there is one number you need to know. It is not the sticker price. It is not the monthly payment. It is not the cost per charge. It is $80,238. That is what Kelley Blue Book calculated as the average total cost of vehicle ownership in the United States over 5 years, including depreciation, financing, fuel, insurance, maintenance, and registration across vehicles in general. But here's the problem. That number doesn't tell you whether an EV will actually save you money. And in 2027, the answer is much more complicated than most buyers realize. Not because EVs are a bad deal, but because the deal changed. And most people buying electric vehicles right now don't fully understand how. The tax credit is gone. Let's start with the fact that will alter every calculation you have done in your head about EV affordability. The federal $7,500 new EV tax credit, one of the biggest financial incentives that helped make electric vehicles more competitive with gasoline cars, expired on September 30, 2025. It is gone. The federal used EV credit of up to $4,000 is also gone. Both credits ended under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. For years, the federal incentive could dramatically change the upfront price calculation. A $40,000 electric vehicle that qualified for the full $7,500 credit effectively had a very different purchase cost from one that didn't. Remove that incentive, and the break-even calculation changes. But there is no universal 6-year or 7-year break-even point. It depends on the specific vehicle, purchase price, gasoline prices, electricity rates, insurance, depreciation, annual mileage, and how long you keep the car. Some states still offer EV incentives, including programs in California, Colorado, and New York, although the amounts and eligibility requirements vary. But the federal backstop that previously reduced the upfront cost of many EVs is no longer there. If you have been building your EV decision around a $7,500 credit, start the calculation again. The fuel savings are real, but only under specific conditions. Here is the good news. Home charging can be dramatically cheaper per mile than gasoline. The exact number depends on your electricity rate and vehicle efficiency, but under common U.S. assumptions, home charging can work out to roughly 3 cents to 6 cents per mile. A gasoline car averaging 30 miles per gallon at pump prices of $3.50 to $4.50 per gallon costs approximately 12 cents to 15 cents per mile. Over 75,000 miles, the home charging EV could spend roughly $2,250 to $4,500 on electricity. The gasoline vehicle would spend approximately $8,750 to $11,250. That's potentially several $1,000s in fuel savings. But there is a critical qualifier: home charging. If you charge primarily at public DC fast chargers because you live in an apartment or simply don't have reliable home charging, the cost can be substantially higher. The International Energy Agency's 2026 analysis shows that public fast charging can cost significantly more than residential electricity. That means the potential fuel savings can shrink dramatically depending on where you charge. The fundamental EV cost question is not, do I want an electric vehicle? It is, do I have reliable, affordable, home-based charging access? If the answer is yes, the fuel savings can be substantial. If the answer is no, you are getting less of the benefit while potentially paying more for the vehicle. The costs nobody talks about. The sticker price is what most buyers negotiate on, but depreciation can matter even more to your 5-year financial outcome. According to IC Car's 2026 study, EVs depreciate approximately 57.2% over 5 years, compared with about 41.8% for vehicles overall. That's a difference of roughly 15 percentage points. Some individual EVs perform even worse. The 2026 Chevrolet Equinox EV is estimated by Kelley Blue Book to lose approximately $24,351 in value over 5 years on a vehicle starting around the mid-$30,000 range. That's a substantial portion of the vehicle's original value. Why? First, EV technology is advancing quickly. A 3-year-old EV can compete against newer models with better range, faster charging, and improved software. Second, the EV market itself is changing rapidly. New model launches, price reductions, incentives, and changing consumer demand can all affect used EV values. Depreciation is not a bill you notice every month. It is the cost you discover when you sell or trade in the vehicle, and it can be one of the largest costs of EV ownership. Insurance, the hidden monthly penalty. Insurance for EVs can also run meaningfully higher than for gasoline vehicles. Current 2026 data from Insurify puts the average insurance cost for EVs at about 42% higher than for gasoline vehicles, but the gap varies. For newer 2024 and later vehicles, Insurify puts the difference at around 18%. Why can EV insurance cost more? Repairs can require specialized technicians. Battery systems can be expensive to repair after collisions. Parts availability for some models can also be limited. Insurers ultimately price for expected repair and replacement costs. As EV repair infrastructure matures, that gap could narrow. But in 2027, insurance still needs to be part of the calculation, where EVs win decisively. Maintenance. This is the EV's clearest financial advantage. No oil changes, no traditional transmission service, no spark plugs, no timing belt, and regenerative braking reduces wear on physical brake components. The U.S. Department of Energy estimates scheduled maintenance costs at approximately 6.1 cents per mile for battery electric vehicles versus about 10.1 cents per mile for gasoline vehicles. That's roughly a 40% reduction. Consumer Reports has also found EV owners can spend substantially less on maintenance and repairs over the life of the vehicle. And then there's the battery. Most EV manufacturers provide battery warranties around 8 years or 100,000 miles, although coverage varies. Out-of-warranty replacement can be expensive, but there is no universal replacement price. The cost depends on the vehicle, battery pack, manufacturer, and extent of the damage. For most owners, battery replacement is better understood as a potential long-term risk rather than a predictable 5-year expense. The honest verdict for 2027, the math on EV ownership in 2027 is not binary. It depends on who you are and how you drive. If you own a home with garage access, drive around 12,000 miles or more per year, plan to keep the vehicle for at least 5 years, and qualify for a state incentive, an EV can be financially competitive with a gasoline equivalent. The fuel and maintenance savings can add up to a genuine advantage, but if you live in an apartment, rely primarily on public charging, drive fewer than 8,000 miles per year, or plan to sell within 3 years, the math becomes much less favorable. Higher depreciation, insurance, and public charging costs can eat into your savings. Cold weather driving is another variable. Current 2026 data shows EVs can lose around 22% of their range at 32 degrees Fahrenheit and around 30% at 20 degrees, although the exact impact varies by vehicle. If you live in Minnesota or Michigan, don't judge an EV solely by its advertised range. The EV is not a guaranteed money saver in 2027, but for the right buyer, in the right circumstances, with the right vehicle, it can still make compelling financial sense. The question is whether that buyer is you. Subscribe for more breakdowns that show you the real numbers behind the decisions that matter.